Hello, loves. Welcome to Tea Time with Monica. Well, I couldn't highlight trailblazers in the plus community without spotlighting the pioneer Gwen DeVoe. For those of you who don't know her, and trust me, if you don't, I don't know why, because Auntie Gwen is everything. She is a former freelance plus model turned fashion event producer. Gwen mentors and coaches women interested in the plus size modeling and entrepreneurship. She has been instrumental in creating a number of platforms for the plus size fashion community, the most notable being Full Figured Fashion Week. Now, y'all know this has been the Oscars of the plus community for years, honey, over a decade. So, due to the pandemic, though, in June 2020, Gwen successfully launched a virtual model of Full Figured Fashion Week, which was amazing. The success of the event and devastation of the pandemic encouraged Gwen to publish her first ebook, Pivot, Don't Panic: How to Turn Your In-Person Event into a successful virtual experience. Welcome, Gwen.
Hi, my doll. How are you? You're looking lovely today.
Thank you. You too. Oh, I miss you so much, Gwen.
I miss you too.
I'm so
You when you and I get together, baby, that tea, we've been spilling the tea before you had the podcast, I think.
yes, we have. But that's the energy we give to each other.
Energy. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. Well, let's start with a quote as I always do. And the quote says, "It's really important for us to be unapologetic, to be bold, to be brave, and to take huge risks." How does this quote speak to your work?
Well, first of all, to be unapologetic. Everybody knows I am definitely the epitome of being unapologetic.
Yes.
But how it speaks to my work is that, when I first started Full Figure Fashion Week, there were, I would say, various programs, shows,
Mm-hmm.
initiatives already out there.
Right.
So for me to do Full Figure Fashion Week, I didn't see it as a strange undertaking. You know
Right.
what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
I also know that we have not yet gotten the respect. And when I say we, I'm talking about the plus size models, designers, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the plus industry. We were just a small little collective, and everyone
Right.
was trying to, put their stamp on everything that what they were doing. And so what I wanted to do was come out with a bold statement,
Right.
of inclusion in fashion and be unapologetic about it. I had a lot of people that wanted to partner with me, but
Mm-hmm.
I could have had a lot more money by adding these individuals,
Right.
as a partner, but I wanted to do it my way. I wanted to be unapologetic because I wanted certain models. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted my models to be compensated. So I did it my way. And that's why I think that, that whole term unapologetic, that's just so me.
It is.
Being authentic in what I want to do and sometimes taking the risk because the risk was for me in creating Full Figure Fashion Week was
Mm-hmm.
not letting some of these larger names. I was just a girl from Harlem who was
Right.
doing fashion shows in the neighborhood and that kind of thing. And had
Mm-hmm.
I allowed some of these other individuals to partner with me, this thing probably it would have grown probably even faster, and we would have
Mm-hmm.
probably gotten even more recognition um, faster,
Yeah.
just by their name and collaborating with them. But I didn't want that. I wanted to be done my way, you know. I wanted to be done my way, and that was a huge risk for me because when you
Yeah.
turn down blah 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 and sookie sookie sookie, that's like, who are you to say no to us? And it
yeah.
wasn't it wasn't a negative thing. It was just like I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it my way.
Well, the bigger the risk, the bigger the success. And you
Mhm.
have been very successful over the
Mhm. It
years.
just took me a little bit longer, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful to individuals like you and some of the other media outlets. And back then we used to call them bloggers. So I
Mm-hmm.
always shout out the bloggers because if it wasn't for the bloggers, Full Figure Fashion Week would not have become nationally known. as
Mm-hmm.
it is now. It would have taken me a lot longer, particularly
Right.
since I didn't allow or invite blah, 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 and she
Yeah.
in to collaborate with me, you know?
Yeah, but I like that you did it your way and you didn't let anybody get in the way of what you were trying to do.
Mhm.
Because, over time you did start to add in other
I did.
brands. Yeah.
Mhm. I had to learn when you go, for me as a producer, once you go from creating local events and you want to do something on a larger scale,
Mm-hmm.
I did not have the knowledge, the expertise. What I did know was that I was a great organizer, from
Yeah.
a birthday party to a baby shower. And I just took that and started to add people to my team who had the similar knowledge base, and we
Mm-hmm.
grew together. When I look at
Yeah.
some of the images and some of the videos from the first Full Figure Fashion Week and see where we've grown just by adding on the talent,
Mm.
and varying your team so that people come with their own separate sets of expertise. It's not just me, it's the whole
Right.
one team. Even though
Yes.
I know how to do everything now, I just want to let y'all know.
Well, you know what? You before we get to how you've poured into so many people in the industry and just people in general, I think you've always said as though I've heard you say at plenty of panel discussions, you have to know what everybody else on your team does just a little
Absolutely.
bit so you know it's done right.
That's true. That's true. And that's a huge part of production. Like, I remember, Monica, back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
it was, we fashion show producers, most of us were models at one point. So we think we know, everything about producing a fashion show. And we would kill ourselves producing the show, walking
Mm-hmm.
in the show, commentating the show. We would just try to do everything. And then it just dawned on me like, okay, you know what? Maybe you need to be more behind the scenes to make sure that
Mm-hmm.
things run well.
Right.
In my first early days, I walked in the show, I commentated the show, then I would throw the mic to somebody else so I could change.
Child.
It was too much.
Yeah, you took on a lot. You took on the whole show.
But it wasn't just me. A lot of the producers, that's what we did because it was that's what was in us. You have to
Mm-hmm.
take part. You have to know. So when I took myself out from the front and put myself in the back, I could see where the problem areas are.
Mm.
That's how you troubleshoot. You sit down. You can't troubleshoot from behind the podium. You have to go backstage and you're like, okay, well, why are these two tables together? Because then if they're so close together, then the makeup artist and the models can't go. It's just,
Yeah, just little things.
and that was before you can hire a backstage manager. See, there were no backstage managers in because we didn't have any money,
Mm.
you know? So I was everything. I was everything. But then as you begin to grow and you see where your needs are in production, you
Mm-hmm.
start bringing in other people. But even though I brought them in, baby, I watched them like a hawk because I need to know every
Yeah.
aspect of production. I can do some of everything. The only thing I can't do is put that set together. Those pieces, putting that runway together and stuff, that's the boys' work for me. Sorry to be
Yeah.
all girly, but that's not me.
So, what was it like for you to start pouring into people when you started seeing people's expertise and said, okay, I want to bring you on my team, but I also want to guide you because you had already been doing this for so long?
Well, there are two things. So for me, I'm always looking for the underdog. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I will always hire the person who's kind of shy and kind of quiet,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes in this business, when you're too quiet, people think, oh, what's wrong with him or her? Or she's probably not that good, or he's probably not that good. Me, I'm like, I take you as you are.
Right.
Once I know you have the skill, I think that the other thing too is so many times, particularly with me, everybody thinks that I want to hire someone who has a booming personality like mine. Nope.
Sometimes
We
that
all,
doesn't mix.
girl, we all can't be crazy and loud like me. Okay, somebody has to get the work done. Someone has to be quiet. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
always look for different kinds of personalities, which brings me to this point, Monica. When
Mm-hmm.
you are putting together your team, you have to be careful with the personalities. Okay.
Mm.
You have to bring in like personalities. All the personalities don't have to be the same. Some people are like, oh, she's not bubbly enough. I don't want her on my team. Again,
Mm-hmm.
we all can't be laughing. and acting silly, who's going to do the work?
You're right.
So I would always kind of get those offbeat people, you know, those people who most people tend to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I'm looking at the skill. If the skill is good, I want
Mm-hmm.
you on the team. And so I would always pick those people that sometimes get left out. You know, it's like
Yeah.
that chubby kid, you know, in the playground. You know, I
Yeah.
would always put that person to play kickball with because I was a chubby person too. So let's chubby together and kick ass and win this game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I would look for those kinds of people. So I didn't realize at that point it was pouring into them, but I guess
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was. And
Yeah.
from there, people were like, wow, she worked with Gwen. Okay, so I want to hire them, you know, or
Yeah.
a lot of my team members have gotten jobs just from working other jobs, just from working on Full Figure Fashion Week, which makes me happy.
You see, that's amazing. That's a true testament to the work you've done
Yeah.
because you poured into the industry as a person who's just like, we need to be known, we need to be seen.
Hmm.
And then you picked out those people who weren't being seen, just like you did with that, and made them seen on
Yeah.
another level.
Yeah.
Look
And then
at
it
you.
also means that when I book them again, they charge me less. So listen,
So look, it's a
there's always
win-win.
a strategy. There's always a strategy for me.
Look, it's a win-win situation out here. Honey, it's got to do for you. It's got to do for me. No, that's right. Well, you've been in the industry for a while. You've seen so much. What has been the most influential change in recent years?
What has been the most influential change?
Yeah.
I think the most influential change in the industry has been our access
Mm-hmm.
to the internet
Mm-hmm.
and social media. Okay, that's
Yeah.
just like a no-brainer.
Right. Right.
Um, a lot of things that are being done now and how they're being done in our industry. It was harder for me because
Mm-hmm.
you know we were just starting to use social media. You know,
Right.
I remember pre-social media back in the day. In order to get just 100 people into my shows, I would have to go out on the streets of New York and give out like 25,000 flyers.
Oh wow.
You know what I mean? It was hard. I would go to parties and just hand out flyers, and I would hire the little flyer guy, rest in peace. Um,
Mm-hmm.
he recently passed away, and he would go to the different parties that I wasn't interested in, but he would give out the you know, we call them marketing materials now. Charlie, just
Right.
flyers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They just
So
flies now.
just flies, honey, just flies. So our ability to use the internet and to use social media has greatly impacted. And also now it's easier for our voice to be heard, which
Right.
is good and bad. Okay.
Now you
Because
gonna give me the good and bad and indifferent on that?
yeah, because sometimes people will dislike a thing or a person.
Mm-hmm.
And now using social media, um, that opinion is now looked as being credible or real.
Mm.
Meanwhile, it's just an opinion. It's just one person's opinion, you know? I had one person told me, I will destroy you. I said, girl, you ain't destroying nothing over here. Okay. Because if you post, I'm gonna post right back. And of
Right.
course, the young lady that sometimes mentors me is like, Auntie, you don't always have to take out the trash. Okay. And
The
that's
trash will take itself
the
out.
trash will take itself out. And that's, you know, I believe that to be true. But I also believe sometimes, Monica, when things like that happen, sometimes you have to show up and
Mm-hmm.
speak for yourself. We
Right.
can't ignore everything. But I digress. So going back to what your question was, I really think that, you know, the biggest change is our ability to influence
Mm-hmm.
and make change happen via social media. I can't imagine doing it any other way now.
Yeah.
You
You're
know?
right. You're right. Because even like there are more digital magazines in the plus community than there are to print. And that's because everybody's just on the internet. They just want to
Yes,
see
yes,
everything.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
And we can speak out about what we like,
Mm-hmm.
what we dislike. And when we speak out on social media about our likes, that gives us an opportunity to get more of what we like. Brands are like, hey, they like this. Let's add more. Adding more offerings to what they already have. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So we've been in this pandemic, we've been in COVID, but pre-pandemic, what was the toughest thing you had to deal with?
Accepting that even though the majority, I guess it's the majority,
Mm-hmm.
may think that FFF week was the greatest,
Mm-hmm.
there was still maybe 10% that didn't think it was the greatest.
Mm.
And they let their feelings be known sometimes by shunning me
Mm-hmm.
and or my event. That
Mm.
was a hard pill to take, because even though we say sometimes, I don't really care, I'm doing my thing, nobody wants to be disliked. Nobody wants to be shunned. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? And so for me, um, I just have to keep going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I would rather please those that really want what I'm giving
Mm-hmm.
than trying to, impress others. I'm not about impressing.
Yeah.
I want to be authentic in everything that I do. And if what I do is not your thing and you don't like it, then it's just, you just move on to people who appreciate it and who enjoy it. So that
Yeah.
was my toughest thing, just trying to get my mind mentally wrapped around, like, well, what am I doing that you don't like? Or what is it about me that you don't like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I got over it. But there are times when, you'll see a little shade, you know.
Yeah.
But
The shade comes, the shade comes.
just buy some trees. Just buy some trees,
Buy
and
some trees, get you a nice little drink, you'll be all
it's,
right.
it's okay. It's all right. People are always going to be people, and we're not going to always agree, and not everything is for everybody. You know,
Yeah.
that's just it.
But what I did, when I got in the industry, what I did see was you traveled, and it didn't matter how large the event was. Sometimes we saw each other in so many different states,
Hmm.
and it
Hmm.
didn't matter if it was a large event, a small event, someone just doing their first year event. If they invited you, you
I
made
was
an effort.
there.
Yeah, you made an effort to come, and it was like always a big thing. Oh my gosh, Gwen is here.
I know.
Gwen came. Gwen came.
Yeah, I used to do that
You did. You did.
pre-pandemic. I loved it because I think, Monica, I don't know everybody that supports me, obviously,
You're
because
right.
FFF Week has such a large support base. But I think that my attending other people's events and supporting them lent itself to how grateful I was
Mm-hmm.
to the community for supporting me.
Right.
I will say that I have been counseled in the past that particularly if it wasn't such a great event,
Mm-hmm.
my sitting in the front row, okay, of a
Mm-hmm.
not so great event somehow validated the event in the wrong way.
Mm.
And I thought about that, particularly if it wasn't a great event. And I got on that 6 a.m. flight back home and I was tired. And a part of me was like, this was not worth it. You got to stop doing this. But, I had to start somewhere too. And I'm
Yeah.
sure that there may have been just one or two
Mm-hmm.
full figure fashion weeks where people didn't have a good time, because the rest
Mm.
of them were bomb. I don't
Well,
care.
I know when I was in New York, I was like, this is the life, honey. All the
But
parties you was having, shoot, everything. I was like, this is the life. What you talking about?
yeah,
I was happy. I was like, we're in New York. I'm partying.
but what if I wasn't in New York? I'm just
Right.
saying that, my greatest thing was I wanted people to stop comparing other people's shows to Full Figure Fashion Week.
Right.
Okay, Full Figure Fashion Week was unique in many ways, but
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't want to come to New York
Right.
in the summer? We got, at the white party. Who
I'm about to
doesn't?
say that white party. You was happy to get on that boat and sell.
Listen, I may keep the white. If I stop Full Figure Fashion Week, I may just keep the white party
Please keep the white party. You ain't got
just
to
for
do nothing
points.
else. Keep the white party.
Listen, and you know who I used to emulate my white party was? Like in New York, I don't know, is it New York? I don't know. But P. Diddy used to have
Because he
all of
could
these
throw a
things.
party.
What? And I'm like, I need my yacht party to be like P. Diddy's.
Right.
I need all the fabulous. They need to dress up. This ain't no white jeans and white tanks. I need everybody dressed up, and we did.
We dressed
Y'all,
to the
y'all
nine.
love that white party.
Honey, I still got videos. What you talking about? I still got videos of.
Monica, I have a video of you doing, I don't know, there's some song.
Oh, Bodak Yellow by Cardi B. Okay.
And y'all do this? I
Yes.
don't know. Y'all be like,
Oh,
and
the
the
swag.
whole
Oh no, the
freaking
swag
boat.
surf. That was the swag surf.
The whole boat.
Yes.
Like, it looks so surreal.
But it was epic.
Yes, 300-400 people. Like, I'm like, what are they doing? They're like, oh, I see that's that song. But I'm like, okay.
Oh yeah, you got the swag surf, honey. That is the party. So I thought it was when I was on the dance floor doing Bodak Yellow, but no, swag surf is that. Well, that was the whole audience. If you've never seen it, like I don't know, go back. Do you have some of it on the old like social media?
I have to
like,
go get some video. Yes.
Yes, go back, audience. Look on the social media Full Figure Factory and just see it because when we're post-pandemic, you gotta just bring at least the white party back.
At least, yeah, because it was. I'm telling you, I'm telling you, and we've had a couple of different. So the only thing, the white party is first, but y'all showed up and showed out for that masquerade party.
Oh, honey, yes, that was fun. And then the lingerie that came out.
Shout out to Livy Ray.
Right, shout out to Livy Ray. They came out with it was classic because I felt like you were all. It wasn't like you were shunning people for doing the lingerie pics, especially posting. It was just how you were doing it, what you were selling in those photos. Was it what we call tasteful? So it's like if I'm gonna do lingerie, this is gonna be tasteful.
In my mind, we were doing our own plus size version of Eyes Wide Shut, baby. And the way you guys came in, because everybody was in masks, it was just something about that event. The whole aura was just, I'm like, this is right. This is right.
Yeah.
And we had a hard time producing and putting that together. Shout out to Lola Pierre, because she
really?
Oh, yes. We were
that was amazing.
Because we were thinking about, do we add tables? We wanted it to be sort of banquet styles because we knew that everybody was going to be really dressed up. And so we wanted you to have a place to sit. So we thought about having, sort of like, but then I was like, but we're going to have so many people. We can't, those tables are going to take up a lot of space.
And we wanted to dance.
Yes. So we did the high boys and that was better. And if you remember, that was the first time we had food.
Yeah.
We had the whole buffet. So a lot of work and planning went into that. And Lola Pierre co-produced that with me. So shout out to Lola. She did an amazing job from the decor, everything.
We got to get to post-pandemic because I need to come to these parties. I told you I want to see a good sleigh.
Can you imagine what the first party, regardless of who gives it, can you imagine what that first party is going to be like?
Oh my gosh.
We're going to lose our minds.
My sister and I figured that's why it was the roaring 20s, because they had just got through the Spanish flu in that pandemic. And then when everybody was, it's like what the Great Gatsby, a little party.
Yes.
Yes. That is going to be us at every party for a good 2-3 years. We are going to act the fool. We really are.
Okay, so I know this is your interview, so I'm kind of taking over. What do you think? When do you think people will be ready to come out in full force like we have been accustomed to? Like if you wanted to give something, if you were going to produce something right now, you and Mickey, you decided you're going to have something in DC, all right? When would you do it? When would you think?
Summer 2022, summer 2022. And the only reason I say that is because right now, if we think of where we are now and what they're projecting, I think end of the year, this year, we should be able to start gathering. I think it's going to take a few months for people to really start getting back in the thick of that. So I'm thinking like late spring, summer 2022.
I'm with you, Monica. It's definitely not this year. I'm sorry.
No.
And I apologize to anybody that's planning an event for the end of this year. I think that you should expect lower than anticipated capacity because just people are they're not comfortable.
Yeah.
they're not confident right now. But 2022, yeah.
Yeah, we busted out the seats. So let's talk. We busted out the seats, but let's talk about that because you have the book and you did pivot
I
before
did
you wrote. You
pivot.
did pivot, and we I remember because I was on one of the panels. I was moderating. We did a virtual full figured fashion week. Now, what was that like planning for you? Because I know it was like a switch in a short amount of time.
Oh my God. So I had said I wasn't going to do it. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was inspired by the creator of Harlem Fashion Week Row, I think HFR. I'm sorry if I'm getting it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And I was invited to her virtual show.
Mm-hmm.
I looked at it and I'm so silly when it comes to things. I thought it was live, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't live. But it was so seamless, Monica,
Wow.
that for an hour and a half, I thought I was looking at this thing live. She had Susan Taylor. I mean, she had anyone who's anyone who's in fashion.
Mm-hmm.
She had everybody on
Wow.
her show, involved in her show. And then I realized I got my little internet guru. I said, "Is this live?" She says, "No, that's not live. It's been pre-recorded." And I'm like, "Hey, I could do this."
Right.
So I used her platform,
Mm-hmm.
which was a learning experience. I assembled my team, and it
Mm-hmm.
was a brand new team. So these are all people who are comfortable with
Mm-hmm.
the internet and its various applications and
Right.
programs and all that. Brought in the guru from Ashley Stewart, who does all the producing of their videos or whatever, and we kind of had a show.
You
It was
did.
a lot. It was a lot. And if I were to ever do it again, I would not do anything live except maybe the panels. All the fashion presentations have
Mm-hmm.
to be done, have to be pre-recorded.
So are we getting it again? Is what I need to know.
No,
Oh
no,
no, no. She's like, no, I'm gonna
no,
tell you that now. No.
no. And Monica, we put that together in like 4 weeks.
What?
4 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
I just woke up one day and like, I'm gonna try it. And everybody was like, oh my God, we don't have the time. But you know what? When you got the right team, Monica,
Yeah.
my team was fly. They knew everybody had their own little thing to do. And we
Mm-hmm.
did it. We got sponsorship. I didn't even send out sponsorship packages. People were
Really?
just ready. No,
I
people were
think
just
people were
ready.
ready to do something.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. And there were a few areas that needed work. I mean, if I were to do it again, I would provide more hands-on assistance to the designers
Mm-hmm.
because some designers, they're the creatives. You know what I mean? And
Right.
for them to be able to pivot to a virtual production, it was a little, and then so fast, so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So I would give them a little bit more, like give them their own tech person from my side of the house to
Right.
assist them. That's what I would do to make their presentation even better.
Better.
You know
Okay.
what I mean? And a few more guidelines. Also, it was too long, child. I let them do 20 minutes. 20 minutes is a lifetime when you're
It is.
sitting down watching something virtually. That's too long. I think it
Yeah.
was 25 minutes I gave them. That's a lot.
Mm. It is a lot.
It's a lot. But I didn't know that. It
But
was
it was a learning curve.
yes,
It was
yes.
a learning curve.
Mhm.
But
I may do something. I don't know. It won't be in
I'm just
June.
saying, we could talk later. When we can always talk later.
Yes,
I'm
if
gonna
you help
encourage
me
you.
out, do it. I don't know. It was a lot, child.
I just think people are, in a sense, if I think about it, people are looking forward to something from somewhere, because I think we still will be in a virtual world
Yeah,
this spring and summer in
yeah,
some capacity, especially with
yeah.
events that were larger. People
Well,
might,
well, we have the Full Figured Industry Awards. They're coming.
they
Tawana,
are.
Tawana just announced that she's having hers this year in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see, Monica. It's definitely not happening in June.
He's not happening in June, y'all.
No,
It's
it's not
not.
happening in June.
So
No,
let's talk a little bit more about the book because this kind of inspired the book.
it did.
It did.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about a little tidbits of what the book teaches.
So it's right now, it's an ebook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And all I did was write down, I had the book kind of debuted virtually via a
Mm-hmm.
workshop.
Right.
And everyone loved it. And they're like, oh my God, this has been so helpful. And then I got interviewed on Fashion in the Fast Lane. And then
Mm-hmm.
some people, like, they were crazy about it. So it's just sort of like a handbook for producers
Mm-hmm.
who are accustomed to having in-person events. And it just gives you some guidelines on how to have either a totally virtual event or a hybrid event. You know,
Okay.
I know that Crusade of Curves, she was one of the first events that I participated in
Mm-hmm.
as a viewer, all
Right.
right, where it was hybrid. She had some of it that was pre-recorded, and that's what hybrid means. Some of your stuff is pre-recorded and some of it is in person. So it's just like I said, this I hope it's a hopeful handbook in teaching you about the different platforms. There are so many platforms out there. And
Right.
people think you can't have a great event using Zoom. Yeah, you can, but you may have to not migrate, integrate
Mm-hmm.
some other platforms with Zoom to make your event cohesive. Now, I will say, do your homework, have a practice event, because one of my events was horrible. Let me
Mm.
just be the first to say, okay? Um, the platform that we integrated with the event platform that I paid for,
Mm-hmm.
the integration wasn't smooth.
Right.
And so the relay was so slow. And there's nothing like watching a relay and people like,
No.
yeah, I was so disappointed, but it couldn't be helped. It was just, and one of the takeaways, the most important takeaways I got from doing Full Figure Fashion Week virtual is you think that your audience, because we're all doing virtual events, you think that your audience is everyone in your audience or all your ticket buyers or all your guests, attendees, whatever name you want to give them. Just
Mm-hmm.
remember, everyone has various degrees, or various levels of comfortability
Mm-hmm.
with applications and programs. So what seems perfectly natural for you may not be for everybody.
Right.
And so you always have to have someone backstage, but accessible to your email. Okay. Even if you
Mm-hmm.
set up an email for troubleshooting people that can't get in,
Mm-hmm.
people that for some reason they can't see the recording or they can't see the broadcast. You have to have, and this is where your customer service, just like if you were doing an in-person event and someone
Mm-hmm.
came in, they lost their ticket, you know, and you always have ways where you can find their ticket on a paper list, which we don't use paper and stuff anymore. But you have
Right.
to remember that those same concepts for
Translate.
customer service have to be translated as well.
Mm.
So I learned a lot, and I put a lot of that into the handbook because these are
Mm-hmm.
things that we don't really think about until it's too late.
Right.
You know, I had young people going, "I can't get in. Where's the link?" There was no link. But most events that you have seen lately, they have a link because they're using Zoom. We weren't using Zoom. We were using a totally dedicated event platform. So
Right.
people were, where's the link? I paid for a ticket. This ain't right. I'm never going to support you again. You just took, oh, Monica,
No,
it
no.
was a mess. But again, we assumed, and we all know that people don't already read the entire everything that you send them.
It's got to be in the first line or the subject
Yeah,
line.
listen, put that in the subject line because there is no link. So, it helped me when I do the next one. If I do the next one,
Mm-hmm. See,
we're
we're
going
getting
to,
closer to yes.
you got me, Monica. See, I hate these interviews because now you're I don't want to be inspired. Leave me alone.
But okay, so let's get to, because you do great workshops, right?
Yeah.
The Silver Fox Model Boot Camp. Are you going to
Oh
do that
my God.
virtually?
Oh my God. I have been doing it
You
virtually.
have? Okay, so let's
Yeah.
talk, because I know that is like
Oh
your
my
baby right
God.
there.
So for right now, my whole dedication is I've dedicated my second part of my life to letting everybody know that there are mature men and women out there who are still kicking major butt. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They still have an interest in fashion. They still have an interest in entertainment. They still have an interest in beauty, healthcare, all that kind of stuff. But no
Mm-hmm.
one's paying attention to them. And when you think about it, this is how I started Full Figure Fashion Week, was
Right.
serving an underserved population.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've identified, while everybody else is looking at children, I'm like, okay, y'all keep them kids. Y'all make those kids models. Okay. I'm not going to deal with the kids. Let's look at the grandparents and the aunties. She's
Mm-hmm.
fly. She's taking really good care of
Honey, because
herself.
fashion doesn't stop.
What? I'm trying to tell you. So I've run across so many of them who
Mm-hmm.
want to do something. So in addition to the Silver Fox Model Academy, which is the prep zone,
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping that I can identify a few stellar stars,
Right.
okay, and sign them to my brand new agency,
Uh-oh, we getting some
Silver
good tea.
Fox Talent Agency, which is going to open in March. I'm just waiting for my licenses and stuff. I want to represent men and women who are 50 years of age and older in
Mm-hmm.
beauty. A lot of my men and women, like, they're product junkies, and they're out there just, they're tagging all the brands. I'm like, before you tag that brand, let me sign you, okay?
Right.
So we can show you how to really do this, okay?
I know that's
So whether
right.
they want to be influencers, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Um, because I find that a lot of the influencers who are out there, they don't really want to share how they got to where they are. I'm gonna
There are
drop that.
very few.
Yeah.
Very few. You see that? You see
I'm
the
going
audience, they can
that
see us with our fingers. Very few. About one or
and
two.
that's okay. But
Yeah.
along comes me. I'm gonna share it all. Okay. Because I think that there's enough out there for all of us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think there's enough out there for all of us. So if you want to be an influencer on anything, maybe you just have, like, you bought some great toys from Fisher Price for your grandchild, and you're just like, oh my God, she
Yeah.
screams until I give her this toy. Girl, let's monetize that.
Yes.
Fisher
Make these,
Price.
honey, let's make these coins no matter what.
Yes. And then the models, commercial modeling. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on training the silver foxes in runway,
Mm-hmm.
because it's different,
Yeah.
and if, there'll be some there, but I want them to be multifaceted. All right. If a runway show comes up and they want you, that's one thing. But let's do these commercials. Let's get this lifestyle modeling together. I mean, Monica, I'm so excited. Oh my God, I'm
See, this
excited.
is why you are considered the trailblazer, because you will just continue to evolve to where you're called.
Yep. And I think plus size fashion, you guys are okay now. We have a lot of people doing a lot of great things, trying
Mm-hmm.
to evolve the industry. And for me, I think that it's time for some of you, the new cats, to come on and take over. Show me what you're working with.
Okay.
Okay, show me what you're working with and how you can move us forward. Because I'm not really sure moving the industry forward is in the form of a fashion show. I'm not sure.
Mm,
I'm not sure.
that's
I'm really not
tea.
sure. I could be wrong, but I'm not sure.
I think people like to see the fashion, but I think you might be right onto something, because when I got in the industry, I was always told the industry needed more than models. And I feel like now, being on where I am in the media part of it, I can kind of see that,
Yes,
because so many people that are supportive of the industry have so many other talents
that's right.
that it may be going in a different way. We get a lot out of these panel discussions, modeling, because of the internet. Not saying that the internet has been bad, but if you notice, is you see the same branded or
Yeah.
signed models in all the ads.
Mhm.
Then we have the fashion shows, and they are great, but we get a lot from the panel discussions, from the influencer events, from where we're connecting with brands and talking to the brands and telling them what the industry really needs, as
Mhm.
opposed to just having a show showcasing fashion.
Correct.
That's a fun aspect. That's one little
Correct.
event, but we go to these events that are 2 and 3 and 4 days long, that
Mhm.
have so much more than just a
Mhm.
fashion show.
And you know what's so interesting? At New York Fashion Week this year, and maybe because it was virtual, mostly 90% virtual,
Mhm.
they finally added panels.
Hmm. See, this is why, yeah, I think you're right. Panel
And I'm like,
discussions.
okay, we've been doing this for 10 years. You know what I
Right.
mean? Here you
Yeah.
guys come. But it's just, I think that the education is important,
Mm-hmm.
particularly for the business owners.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you're a model, that's a business. So, we're not excluding the modeling piece of it. As a matter of fact, just last week, I reran the male model panel in my Silver Fox model private group that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And the male models in the group were like, oh my God, what a wealth of information, and
Mm-hmm.
shout out to you male models. Guys are different from us.
Yeah, they are.
That testosterone is just jumping and bubbling all in your soul. And,
Can I come
you know,
sit in
you,
there?
yeah, you guys may smoke cigars together and take a shot together, but you don't always share the information. And I believe that's because for male models, it's more of a, what word am I looking for, Monica? They learn by what they see others do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty unique for a male model to seek out formal education and modeling.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas female models, we'll take a class in a minute.
It's a
We'll take a
hot second.
workshop. You understand? We will find a runway coach. I don't think that's actually happening with the guys.
Mm.
And so that may be an area that someone wants to get into, providing the training. One guy told me, I don't have no money to take no class. I got 5 kids. Well,
That's
okay,
one
that sounds
thing.
like a personal thing. But yeah, I think that, I don't know, there's so many opportunities since this pandemic. I think the pandemic has given us an opportunity to pause
Mm.
so that we can look at everything in a larger scope and just see where we can improve upon certain things. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I've identified a whole new community that I want to help. And that's why I'm so excited about this Silver Fox Model Camp.
Yes. I think you're right, though, that the pandemic has given us a time to pause because I
Yes.
don't want to say it was just getting redundant with event after event after event after event, but it's almost like what's really needed.
Right.
What's going to be the most impactful thing
Impactful. Mhm.
for this community, and how can we move forward, or
Right.
how can I move forward, and what my efforts are to help people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. It's just, it did get a little bit redundant. And I also think that it gave, like on the design side of the house, I think it gave designers an opportunity to experiment more,
Mm-hmm.
come out of your safety zone, you know. If you only made tubular dresses, now let's start putting like some pockets on the tubular dresses and some
Mm-hmm.
wide sleeves. It's just, it hasn't been all bad. That's
No.
what I hope that we'll be able to say at the end of it. Say it was tough, but it hasn't been all bad. And if you use this time wisely, fun. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do. I want people to go, whoa, I've changed my whole look.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying.
Look, I'm over here rebranded. Look, I don't know how many conversations Vicky and I've had about, okay, how can we make the brand look and it be more cohesive with the podcast and me being an influencer? Like, how can we mesh it together? Like, seriously,
Absolutely.
I've been through the
Absolutely.
therapy, all of that, just to get back to who I
Yes.
am and what I'm doing.
Yes. 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 Because I think that after this pandemic, the pandemic has raised the bar somewhat.
Mm,
You know what I mean?
right. Because people are
We
going to be
can't go
looking for
back to being the
something.
same old thing.
Right.
Right. And and for you to come back with that same old whackness, well, not whack, that's just shade, but I'm just saying for
You could
people to
throw a
come
little
back
bit.
with
You could
this,
throw a little bit of shade on it.
you got it. It's like, well, what you been doing? What you been doing? And then I had a conversation with someone the other day, and she's like, well, you make everybody seem they should be doing something during this pandemic. I'm just tired. Oh, I said, but you can't die.
No.
You can't just fall out. You got to move forward. And
Yeah.
while you're moving forward, you might as well come out shining. you know,
You step
and
out
that's
warm.
on Mary's Little Lamb or whatever the kids are saying. I don't know what that is.
Look, and that's
What?
all. But Mary had a little lamb.
I just, I don't know. I just want everybody to realize that this is not going to last forever.
Mm-hmm.
And then whether you come back, you know, out of the pandemic with a better body, a stronger brand, you know, more or fabulous inspirations for how you can turn your show into a virtual or a hybrid product or whatever. Let's just come out better,
Yeah,
better. That's all I want to be is better.
that's right.
I was happy with the old Gwen. I just want to be better.
I know that's right. You know, I don't have my time to sit down and
Right?
really think. I got this.
Yes. Yeah. I know we're drinking more at home, we're eating more at home and stuff, but in between that sip and that crunch, start thinking about what you want to do and how you want to be perceived when the door is open.
Mm.
You know, because let me tell you, when we all get together, everybody's gonna be, hey, they looking at you. They look, hey, give me a hug. What you doing? What you been doing? You don't want to
Mm-hmm.
go, oh man, I ain't do nothing. You don't want to say that. You don't want to say that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So get your rest in 40% of the time, but the other 60% of the time, let's grow.
I know that's
I'm
right.
growing.
Well, we have had a great conversation today. You've dropped
Have we been on for 2 hours yet?
I don't know. We might have look, audience. We had to have our little
You're
kiki and
gonna have to
conversation.
edit. Yes.
Mickey gonna be. We
You're
had
gonna
our.
have to edit this.
Well, it's all right. Mickey got it. Mickey got it. We love him, but
Shout out to you, Mickey.
yeah, shout out to Mickey. He's been a big help to a lot of people in the industry.
I'm sure. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But before we go, I need you to tell people how they can follow what you have coming up with the Silver Fox talent agency and how they can just get to know everything that's going on with you.
So I want to do this the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm waiting on some licenses and that kind of stuff. But I hope to be able to fully open the agency sometime in March. But I've already locked down the social media pages, baby, because you know, Monica, that's what we have to do. So it's Silver Fox Talent Agency on Instagram, Silver Fox Talent Agency on Facebook. But if you want to be a part of the discussion about the Silver Fox Model Camp and find out what kind of, you know, opportunities are available to you, you can follow us on Silver Fox Model Camp on both Facebook and on Instagram. There's a private Facebook group, Silver Fox Model Camp. You got to answer some questions. And yes, one of the questions is, how old are you? Okay. Because you know, you younguns try to get all up in everything. And I'm also having a huge talk.
Okay.
Via StreamYard or whatever that thing is.
Mm-hmm.
It's on the Facebook page, the
Okay.
private group, Silver Fox Model Camp. And I'm going to be talking about all the different opportunities that I have uncovered for mature men and women. So it should be a blast.
Oh yes, I'm so happy for you. I'm so proud of you. Like I don't know if that feels right, me saying I'm
yes, no, I get
I
it.
am.
I get it. I want to inspire you guys to, like, you know, think about something and act on it.
Yeah.
I don't know if this agency is going to work because remember, I need people to book the people that I'm booking.
Right.
I don't know if it's going to work, but that's not going to stop me. You know, if it doesn't work, you know, because the last thing I want is to have somebody signed on my board for like 2 years and not get them a booking. That's a problem.
Yeah, that is. That's the problem. But you hear models say it all the time that they have to hustle on their own because the agencies they're with has so many people. But you're just starting out. You might have a lot of success.
But I won't, you know, I've already put it in my mind that I have a cap on the amount of people for the first year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if a particular model is not getting booked, there's an issue, and then I will probably work with them to end their contract so they can go on. I might not be the space for them. You know what I mean? Because being with an agency, it's a very personal thing.
Yeah.
You know, we have to work together, and I just don't want to even though the contracts won't be exclusive, I just don't want to put somebody up there, just have them there.
Right.
'Cause I think that's what agencies do. They put you up there because your picture is great, and
Mm-hmm.
it just entices people to come look at your board. I don't want to do that. I really, really want to get them some bookings. So if you're looking for a voice artist,
Yeah.
you're looking for some commercial lifestyle modeling, or if you just want an older person to rep your brand, y'all better get to me, brands. I know brands be listening to this Tea Time with Monica. I
That's
know.
right.
Monica said, that's right.
That's right. You better get this good tea. And you better get those good people Gwen got coming to you.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming on. You guys, Gwen is like, I want to say near and different, but she is auntie to me, honey. When we get together, the energy is
Oh my God.
amazing. She has inspired me so much in the work that I do and where I am now. So thank you again for everything, Gwen.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for always giving me an opportunity to reach your listeners. I so appreciate that. Because if you guys don't put me on, child, I got to work by myself. It's hard out here for a pimp.
I know that's right. Well, audience, thank you for listening to another episode of Tea Time with Monica. Bye, loves.